Hello everyone, welcome to the second episode of 360 Anything Goes. And on this episode tonight, or today I should say, episode number 2, I will be talking about one of my favorite TV shows of all time, Full House. Yep, and the episode of Full House I picked, and I'm sure I will probably talk about other episodes of Full House in the future, but the first one I decided on was Beach Boy Bingo, and the reason I picked this one was because this is the first one that the Beach Boys have appeared in. As I said, one of my favorite all-time TV shows is Full House, and I also really like the Beach Boys and always liked when they were on Full House. So I will be talking about this episode for episode number 2 of Anything Goes. But before I get into this episode of Full House, thank you to everyone who checked out the first episode last week where I talked about Young Rock, the 3 seasons. Hopefully everyone enjoyed it. And like I've talked about on the wrestling podcasts, I know I talked kind of all 3 seasons, discussed them a little bit, but I still might do one whole Anything Goes episode about one episode of Young Rock and kind of get into that one more. For example, the one Christmas one I was a big fan of, where The Rock goes to Mankind's Christmas party, buys him a real expensive gift, and then Mankind, he's not too happy about it. Not to get into that too much now, but just for example, I might talk about that episode, go deeper into it than I did in last week's episode. And without any further ado, though, let's get into this episode of Full House, Beach Boy Bingo. And our main cast, of course, we have Bob Saget as Danny Tanner, John Stamos as Uncle Jesse, Dave Coulier as Joey Gladstone, Candace Cameron as DJ Tanner, Jodie Sweetin as Stephanie Tanner, and Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen as Michelle Tanner. And just one more quick thing before I get into the podcast. I want to tell everyone about another podcast that I actually enjoy listening to, and that is the Fuller House podcast, hosted by Angela Bowens. That is a really good podcast, and out of, I'd say, probably the few different Full House podcasts I have listened to, that is definitely the best. And I remember one I listened to a while ago just to see what it was like. It was called How Rude, and all they did was make fun of the show. I did not care for that one, but this one, Angela Bowens, does a really good job with each episode. She also does some episodes of Fuller House as well. And I definitely recommend you go check out the Full House Fuller House podcast. I think I'm saying the name right. I might be saying it wrong. Just in case, I apologize if I am saying the name of the podcast wrong. Yes, I did say the name wrong. I just looked real quick. I don't know how I could have messed this up. I apologize to Angela Bowens for that. But it's the Oh My Lanta Holy Chalupas podcast. Like I said, though, even though I forgot the name of it, still very good podcast. I listen to that just about every episode. With all the other pro wrestling podcasts I listen to, of course, but I definitely try to listen to every episode. And just like this podcast and all my podcasts, hers are also for ears of all ages. You're not going to hear any foul language or anything like that. And speaking of podcasts, there are a couple new Full House podcasts out there. One I've been enjoying so far is How Rude Tanneritos, I should say, hosted by Jodie Sweetin and Andrea Barber. And, of course, that is Stephanie and Kimmy. They're going to be rewatching and discussing each episode so far. They have talked about the first 2 episodes of the first season. The new episodes are available Tuesday. So if you're a big Full House fan like I am, I definitely recommend listening to that one. And of course, Oh My Lanta Holy Chalupas. And the other new Full House podcast, which has already been paused actually because of the actors' strike. I don't know too much about what's going on with that, but it's been put on pause until that is over. And the podcast I'm talking about is the Full House Rewind with Dave Coulee. And he only did 1 episode, actually, the very first one, and he had the executive producer, I think he is, of the show, or the creator of the show, I should say, Jeff Franklin. And just that first episode of the podcast was pretty good. He did the Bullwinkle impression, the Mr. Woodchuck impression, and then just right when I was about to, I saw there was a new episode, about to listen to the second one, he said that he was taking a break until the actor strike, or I'm not too sure about what this whole strike thing is about, but he said he's pausing the podcast until the strike is over, but hopefully he will be back with it, and I recommend checking that one out too. Now let's get into this episode. Finally, that's enough talking. And also in the cast is Andrea Barber as Kimmy Gibbler. The director is Steve Zuckerman. Writers Jeff Franklin, Dennis Rinsler, I believe, and Mark Warren. This episode originally aired November 18th, 1988, Season 2, Episode 6. And we start things off on this episode with the cold open. And we see Stephanie and Michelle in a rocking chair, and Stephanie is reading Michelle a story about a prince and a princess. And she finishes the book, and Michelle wants her to read it again. Just a quick little cold open here, not too bad. Just two sisters reading a book together, or one sister reading a book to the other, I should say. And we go into the intro. Everywhere You Look always has been one of my favorite TV show theme songs, right there with Bonanza, Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, and there are probably others I'm not thinking of right now. And then after the intro, we see Stephanie in the kitchen looking through a box of cereal. I should have probably paid better attention when I was watching this episode earlier, but I'm not sure if this was actually a box of Oat-Boats or not. Which Oat-Boats is the cereal in the one episode that DJ auditioned for the commercial for, and then Stephanie ended up accidentally getting the part. But she's in the box of cereal, has almost her whole arm in it, looking for her giant glow-in-the-dark dinosaur. And then Danny comes in wearing kind of like a Hawaiian beach shirt, kind of. And he's excited because the Beach Boys are going to be on Wake Up San Francisco. And DJ says, "Wait a minute. I like the Beach Boys. You like the Beach Boys. I must be getting old." And then the rest of the family, Uncle Jesse, Joey, they come down and they start to eat their cereal. Joey starts to pour his milk, and Stephanie stops him and starts looking through his bowl once again for the giant glow-in-the-dark dinosaur. And Joey says a funny line here. He says, "If you want dinosaurs, look in the Flintstones vitamins." And then at this time, hear Danny bite into something in his cereal, and it is the dinosaur, but instead of a giant glow-in-the-dark dinosaur, it's just a real little kind of cheap plastic figure of a dinosaur. And Stephanie says that this isn't a dinosaur. Looks more like a dino shrimp. And then after that, we go to Wake Up San Francisco. And Danny let Uncle Jesse and Joey come along to meet the Beach Boys. And Joey tells Jesse that while this is going on, I should say they're working on their Beach Butter Suntan Lotion jingle. Joey brings that up, and he wants Jesse to pitch it to the Beach Boys. Maybe try to get them to sing it for a commercial. And then we see Danny on Wake Up San Francisco on the air, and he says Becky is walking down the hallway with the Beach Boys to bring them out, but then he gets handed a note real quick, and he says the Beach Boys plane can't land because of fog. And at this time now, Danny says, I promised you that you would hear good vibrations, and you will hear good vibrations. And then he starts singing it, playing the guitar too, which I did enjoy this part. I thought Bob Saget was very well in this part. And I remember back when I was a kid watching this, I always thought this part was funny of Danny trying to sing Good Vibrations live on Wake Up San Francisco. And before he started, though, Jesse said he wouldn't, and Joey, he shouldn't. And then we go back to the house, and Uncle Jesse and Joey are in a hurry to hear their peach butter suntan lotion on a radio commercial, so they turn on the radio, and then we hear them singing. It's Jesse and Joey eat at Beano's, and Uncle Jesse and Joey are upset about it because it's actually supposed to be eat at Beano's today. And Danny just looks at him and says, those butchers. And they leave the radio on, and then they hear about a contest to win Beach Boys tickets. So then Jesse gets the phone, and Joey first stops him. He says, no, wait. He says, no, you're the first caller. No, you're the second caller. No, you're the third caller. Like that. And then Jesse finally just calls, but he can't get through because DJ is on the phone. And then we hear on the radio who the lucky caller was, DJ Tanner. And the three guys are surprised to hear DJ on the radio. And then we go up to DJ and Stephanie's bedroom there with Kimmy Gibbler. And DJ will win the tickets if she knows the Beach Boys song that they play a few seconds of. And it's Help Me Rhonda. And I was kind of surprised because DJ was talking about how she's a fan of the Beach Boys and everything, but she didn't know this one. And real funny part here is while she's on the phone, she looks at Kimmy and says, help me, Gibbler. And the guy on the radio asks what she said, and Danny, Jesse, and Joey run upstairs, and DJ says, help me, and they yell, Rhonda, and DJ says Rhonda, answering the question correctly, winning the tickets, and now DJ has to choose which member of the family she's going to take, because she can only take one. And we go back the next morning. Each member of the family is trying to get on DJ's good side, hoping that she will take them to the concert. Joey's making cheeseburgers for breakfast. Jesse makes a tape of all her favorite songs. Kimmy comes in with a plate of her mom's chocolate fudge brownies for her. And then finally, it is time for DJ to make a decision, and she picks Uncle Jesse. And then after this, Danny looks upset. And then we go to another scene. Danny asks DJ why she picked Jesse, and she says because he loves the Beach Boys and he's a musician. She says, you're a talk show host. If I want a trip to see Oprah Winfrey, then I take you. And then we get a scene with Jesse and Danny. And alright, first I think I'm on out of order here, but Danny is with Jesse, but then DJ comes in and says she forgot that she was supposed to go ice skating with Kimmy, and she tells Danny to go with Jesse to the concert. And then Danny knows why, because he was upset when he talked to DJ earlier, and Danny says he can't compete with Uncle Rock and Roll, and Jesse says he should be jealous of Danny, and then he mentions all the things that he gets to do with the three girls, DJ, Stephanie, and Michelle. And then Danny goes into DJ's room. He wants her to go with Uncle Jesse, and DJ doesn't want to go. And then Uncle Jesse comes in, tells her to go with her father, and then everybody starts arguing at this time. And then the phone rings, Stephanie answers it, and she tells everybody to be quiet because she's on the phone, and she says no, 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 and then hangs up. They ask her who it was, and she says it was some beach boy calling from their limo in front of their house. And then right after Stephanie tells them that, they run down the stairs yelling, telling them not to leave. And then they open the doors, and the Beach Boys are standing there, and they say, okay. And they all get excited, shake hands, say hi to the Beach Boys. And Joey says, you're Al, Bruce, Brian, Carl, Mike. And then all of them, they shake hands, act like they're meeting each other for the first time. And then they ask if there's a DJ Tanner. They say, I understand you're not going to the concert. And then they ask her, is Bon Jovi in town? And Stephanie comes downstairs at this time, and she says, hey, who are these guys? Uncle Jesse tells her it's the legendary Beach Boys. And she looks at them and says, big boys. And Mike Love says, cute kid. And then we skip to them singing Kokomo. But first, Mike Love suggests that they get a vegetarian pizza. And then we skip to them singing Kokomo. And then Joey pulls Jesse to the side and tells him now would be a good time, since they're in their house, they're singing, eating pizza, to give them the tape of their jingle. And Jesse says he doesn't have the tape on him. Joey says, check your pocket, and it's in there. And Jesse goes to walk over there to give it to him. But then they hear Mike Love say it's good to have one night with somebody trying to get them to listen to a song they wrote. So then Jesse tosses the tape, and Joey catches it. And then Michelle says Kokomo, Mike Love says, "Oh, a request," and then they start singing Kokomo once again, and then we cut to the concert. About the last half of Kokomo, we get here like a live performance of it at the concert, and then Mike Love gets on the mic and says they want to introduce their new friends, the Tanner family, and he brings them on the stage, and they sing Barbara Ann, singing, dancing together, having a good time, and that's the end of the episode. And actually, I don't know, maybe if I just never paid attention, but I don't remember this. I watched it on Max, and in the end credits, they show the family hanging out with the Beach Boys at the concert. And they're also playing another Beach Boys song, Fun, 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 Till Daddy Takes the T-Bird Away. And for some reason, I don't remember that. Maybe I just never paid attention to the closing credits before. But, like I said, I watched this on Max. So, if you have Max, you can definitely watch this episode as well. And I want to say Full House, the original one, I think is also on Netflix. I'm not sure, but I don't have Netflix. But I want to say that it might be on there. Not too sure about that, though. And also, now I watch Full House on every morning, actually, Monday through Saturday. A channel called Catchy Comedy. It's on 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. I watch it while I'm getting ready for work and everything. And it's one of those digital channels. Like here in Detroit, it's 2.4 or 2.5, I believe. So if you want to watch Full House, Catchy Comedy, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Monday through Saturday. So overall, I really enjoyed this episode, always have, and it's always one that I do make sure to watch when I see a rerun of it on. And like tonight, sometimes I go on Max and watch episodes I like a lot. This is one of them. I thought all the actors were really good in it. I thought the Beach Boys were very good in it. I don't quite have a rating system figured out yet for Anything Goes when I talk about an episode of a TV show. If you also listen to the wrestling podcasts, I do the ring bells for matches and shows overall, but I might try to think of some kind of a rating system for Anything Goes. But until then, I'm just going to say this was a really good episode of Full House. Definitely one of my favorite ones. So that is all for episode number 2 of 360 Anything Goes. Hope everyone enjoyed this episode as well. Before I go, if you have any questions, comments, or you can leave your feedback and your opinions on this episode of Full House, Beach Boy Bingo, you can either in the comment section right here on Spreaker, YouTube, or whichever podcast app you listen to on. And Gotta get a quick plug in for 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Hopefully we'll have a new episode tomorrow night talking about tomorrow's Monday Night Raw. But first, tomorrow morning, the Monday episode of Good Morning Wrestling Fans. Stay tuned for that. And once again, that is all for tonight. Hope everyone enjoyed this episode about Full House, Beach Boy Bingo, and I'm not sure what I'm going to be talking about next week. And who knows what I could be talking about. Might be another TV show episode. Could be anything. Like the name of the podcast says, anything goes. But until next week, hope everyone has a great day. And I don't know what to say yet to end the show. Like on the other ones, I say, have a great pro wrestling day. I am a wrestling fanatic. But maybe this will be it. Maybe this might be the regular, closing thing. Until then, see you later, alligator.